Well, hello, everybody. You're listening to 10 Minutes with the Coopers. And I'm David.
And I am Wendy.
Oh, and tonight we want to talk to you guys about something that is probably, if you were with children, I'm sure this has happened in your life. And especially if you have teenage, between age, and 20 somethings, they know how to pick and put you in a situation that you don't want to be in. So tonight we want to talk about how to handle arguments that will be between your spouse and your children, how to resolve them so that they're not out of the picture and the two of you are left dealing with the matter. Now, baby, if you would permit, I'll start this off, and
Okay.
then I'll pick your brain and your heart on what you think is best practices for how to do this. So I wanted us to discuss this one because we experienced this one quite a bit. I think I would say that the number one thing that we might disagree on, something to do with issues that will happen with our children. And rather they will say something to me and then get me going, or say something to you, get you going, and then they'll walk off, and then the two of us will kind of be left to hash out how we should punish them, what should be our attitude about it, and we struggle with it.
Yeah.
Now, would that be fair to say that that's a struggle? And I like I said, I think a lot of families are feeling this one or experiencing this one. What's your heart on that?
I would have to agree. I don't know. I know for us, it can be a struggle because we have different viewpoints in terms of how, I don't know, deal with them, how we should go about, I guess, dealing with situations that come up with them. So,
Right. I agree, because here's what'll happen: is they'll give me one attitude, and then they'll give you a different attitude, and sometimes that then leads to unfair treatment to one spouse versus the other. So, a case in point, I'll say something, and you'll say the exact same thing, and you'll get a different response than I'll get, or vice versa. And then it leaves you kind of saying, okay, now I said the exact same thing your father said, but you can hear it when he says it, or you respond differently. But when I say it, there's more to this issue, or you make a bigger issue out of it when we're saying the exact same thing.
I guess I don't know. Maybe it's the delivery. I mean, with the girls, they're daddy's girls, so they're gonna probably, I don't know, hear what you have to say in a different way, with a different ear versus maybe how I say it. I'm also an alpha female, so I
Yes,
can't
sir.
come down pretty hard or stern, I should say. And so sometimes with them being, females themselves, um, it's probably, it doesn't register for them that I'm, coming off, I don't know, as this loving, nurturing type of, mother. I mean, I have my nurturing ways, but when it comes to certain things, I'm pretty dogmatic about certain things, and I'm pretty vocal and opinionated. If I feel like they're doing things they shouldn't be doing that are affecting not just them, but us, the people around them, I'm going to, you know, be pretty stern about that. And I just think that maybe it's my delivery.
Right.
And I guess with you, they're daddy's girls, so I guess, I don't know, you have a way of reaching them that I'm not able to.
But you said something there, and it is very clear you're an alpha female, and I'm more of a passive aggressive person. So the other thing, well, let's back up one. You said something else that I think is also critical, is that to understand what irritates us. I can tell you what irritates you, and we've said this to the girls that this irritates you. You don't like to be lied to, and you don't like disrespect.
No.
So if a debate with them starts out and little neck get going or something happens, that's already in the disrespect category. And then if you don't feel like you're getting the unadulterated truth sometimes, then that's the other one. And then that leads to the conflict. And then here's the thing that is a challenge though. When conflict has presented itself, and again, let me back up, because I I will also have issues with them. I don't like disrespect, and I don't like to be lied to. I think it's weighted different. So these are for you. That weight drops a little heavier when these present themselves, and mine don't quite fall quite as far. Might and it gives them the impression that I don't make a big deal out of it when it's not true.
Right.
It has everything to do with I may take a longer approach, getting back to the passive aggressive, and you being more the alpha female, like this is how it's going to be. That how they handle that, and sometimes what'll happen is then we'll interrupt each other, or I'll interrupt you, and then you weren't able to get everything you want out of the system of conversation, and I have the worst habit of short circuiting, and that's when the argument then ends up being left with you and me, and then they walk off, and it's like, okay, why are you talking to me? You need to get on your daughter, or why, rightfully so. As much as I say, David, don't interrupt. Let mom get everything out. Let her empty, because it's a weighty matter with you. And that's something I'm still working on. I'm not great at when I might insert my passive way of trying to do it. And then there are times where you'll insert when it's Isaiah kind of. So I'll have the same issue when I'm getting on him and kind of riding him a little bit. So I'll get irritated, and when you're like, go ahead.
I feel like you can be a little hard on him as he is only 13 and he still has some growing to do. These girls are considered young adults, which
True.
the younger two, I would beg to differ on that one. I still feel like there's a lot of growing to do, but
right.
because of the age, but I just feel like with Isaiah, I feel like you can be a little too hard on him sometimes. And he is more sensitive,
right?
As a male, as a boy, I feel like he's a little more sensitive. So I try to. I can put my foot down with him too, though.
Right.
So I'm pretty much the same across the board.
Right. If he disrespects a lie.
Of course, but I think I'm a little more in tune or more sensitive to the fact that he is, his personality. He's just more sensitive.
True.
And I try to, be more mindful when I'm trying to discipline him and talk to him through, issues.
I would agree.
Versus with the girls, they're not all three. All four are all different. They all have their own different personalities. Not all of our daughters are mouthy, but there are, there are the
few
that are, and that affects, my ability to be that understanding, mother at that point. So.
True. But I think here's the thing here, and I'm sure it's happened to everybody listening to us. It's when they walk off, and we're left with it. And you and I got about 2 minutes to try to turn the corner on and to give people some idea here, some context, that at the end of the day, it still has to be David and Wendy. And if you listen to this, it has to be hubby and wife.
Right.
You have to know how to check out when it comes to being in support of your children, and check in when it comes to say, at the end of the day, we're together on this, because we find that it is very easy to now you want to get a full breath of what you're saying out, and they walk off. It's got to go somewhere. Right. And I think that, and here's a rule that I tried to employ. If you start an argument that's left with me and mom, then you're guilty no matter what caused the argument. Even if you had a valid reason for an attitude, if we're left with the argument, then you're wrong. And so that would be my recommendation, is to say they're wrong. And when I recognize they're wrong, sometimes I think you want me to just jump on right in and I tend to be a little late getting back to passive aggressive. I tend to want to wait a little longer
It
than you
would
want me to
be
wait.
better for me, yeah,
Yeah,
if you were to correct them in front of me, in front of everyone, especially if the offense was done in front of other people,
I would agree.
because it lets people know, oh, okay, he's gonna put them in check if if they disrespect, you know,
Yeah.
their mother,
Hmm.
or your wife. That's just a value. That's a value thing for me. That's something that is important to me,
And that's that other
to
way.
feel like I'm safe, that and covered by you, that you're gonna stand up for me and right then and there, not wait and talk to her or whichever one of them, in private, but not
Right.
correct them. And I feel like they should be corrected in front of everybody, since the offense was done in front of everyone,
Right.
in order to remind them, hey, this is your mother, she's to be respected.
Right.
You know.
And I can improve in that department.
Yeah.
And I think I can certainly improve because, I try to take a different approach. And often that's what we'll argue about. Hey, listen, we don't have time to dig much further into this to keep you guys at 10 minutes. As you can see, how to settle arguments so that the argument does not come between husband and wife. You have to go ahead and discuss and know the boundaries and know what is weighted for someone else. And again, just to recap, for my wife, she doesn't like to be lied to. She doesn't like to be disrespected. And the
Nope.
way we go about dealing with that, I've got to grow some. Husbands, if you listen, you may have to grow some. You may have to try to figure out where is the balance. Wives, you have to grow a little bit. If he's passive aggressive like me and you're alpha female, you have to also work within the confines of his personality on some arguments. So, as we always say, that's our story. Hey, there's some people who choose to be, some people who choose not to be. For us, hey, we choose to be. Love you guys. And again, remember, settle arguments. Don't let them stay with husband. Don't let them stay with wife or come between you guys. Blessings.